Richard Giragosian. He's the director of the Regional Studies Centre, an independent think tank in Armenia. Good to have you with us. So Pashinyan has said he's open to early elections. He has said that before, hasn't he? And then he's backtracked. So do you think early elections are a possibility?
I think they're more than a possibility. To be honest, after much street theater in terms of dueling demonstrations of the opposition and an outpouring of support for Pashinyan, we finally are beginning to resolve the political crisis. And Prime Minister Pashinyan's move to accept the necessity of a free and fair election is crucial. And it would be very difficult for the opposition to refuse the opportunity.
He says that he wants the opposition to agree to certain conditions. Do we know what these conditions are? And are the opposition ready to have elections themselves? Well,
the sticking point up until now was the opposition was largely demanding as a prerequisite the resignation of the prime minister and his government. But there is a consensus or compromise to move forward where we move to an early election without necessarily requiring the resignation of the prime minister. This will be difficult to resolve constitutionally, but there are signs from the opposition parties represented in the current parliament that they are quite willing to facilitate the practical requirements toward a fresh election.
What about the fact that top military officials last week were demanding that Pashinyan resign? Now, look, if the military turn against Pashinyan, he can't hold on for much longer, can he?
Well, actually, no. I would argue from a military perspective, the urgency of that threat has long passed. And in many ways, the officers themselves, in an unprecedented move into politics, actually expose their lack of planning and preparation. And unlike many countries, we no longer see any real threat of military involvement. Moreover, Pashinyan seems to have outmaneuvered everyone and much of the opposition. But part of this is based on the reality that there's no alternative candidate or rival acceptable to the majority of the population.
Can I ask you, you described it as political theatre, which I think is a great way of putting it. Just put it into context for us. We see all these massive, massive demonstrations against Pashinyan. He has his rival demonstrations with his supporters, of course. How much public backing does he have? I mean, can he recover from this criticism over his handling of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict?
For two reasons, yes. The first is the opposition itself is deeply discredited and widely unpopular because they're affiliated with the corrupt former government and are actually acting more out of desperation than determination. At the same time, Pashinyan and his government still retains the institutions and the instruments of power and hold a silent majority of support. However declining it is in popularity, there is no alternative.
Richard, great to speak with you. Thank you for that. Richard Giragosian there.
Thank you.